A Football Life, Mike Holmgren, presented by Sprint. You can see it on Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern on NFL Network. So every week we like to shine a bit of a spotlight on players, on storylines that aren't mainstream, that aren't getting all of the love, all the trends on Twitter, all of that. We call them underappreciated storylines. It's my favorite thing we do every week. And Nate, you get to go first.
I get to go first to start this thing off. All right, so my underappreciated storyline is just how great of a defensive genius Mike Zimmer really is. Now, you might know him as this 62-year-old head coach who rocks his glasses with more swag than I do, but his journey started decades ago, back when he was coaching defensive backs like Hall of Famers Deion Sanders, Darren Woodson, pretty sure you heard of him. Let's fast forward, though, 2014, when he takes over as the Vikings head coach. And from then on, he's been putting players in the best position to be successful. Now, here's the thing. If a guy doesn't win Defensive Player of the Year or get a Pro Bowl nod, the next best thing is Defensive Player of the Week, which for us is like a chef being Employee of the Month. And boy, has Zimmer been cooking up some winners. Since 14, Zimmer has had 8 different NFC Defensive Players of the Week. 8! Anthony Barr, Linval Joseph, Terrence Newman, Everson Griffin twice, Eric Kendricks, Xavier Rhodes, Harrison Smith twice, and most recently, Daniel Hunter. Now, by no means am I dismissing the individual efforts of each player or the assistant coaches who were instrumental along the way, but everything starts and ends with the head coach. As kids, we've all sang the words, like Mike, if I could be like Mike. Well, listen, if you're on defense in the NFL, you should be saying, with Mike, if I could play with Mike, because guys love him. Here's a prime example of that.
Let me tell you about this vicious rumor I heard. I heard one of your best players.
I can't wait.
One of your best players you ever coached, the guy probably that's responsible for you sitting in the office right now. I heard he picked you up in a Lamborghini Diablo and took you to a batting cage, and you fouled a ball off your shin. Is that true?
Dude, you were bunting in the batting cage. Who goes in a batting cage and bunts? I'm trying to hit jacks.
You fouled a ball off your shin. I was bunting to get the timing of the batting machine. That's what a real baseball player does.
I'm swinging for the fence, baby.
We smile every time we see that. Deion, one of the greatest talents this league has ever seen, and as great as a coach he was, the player in him, they connect very well. Now, all these men, they went from super collegiate players to superheroes on the pro level. So, in the words of the great Stan Lee, enough said.
Okay. Love it.
Oh, man. Shout out to Zimmer, man.
Excelsior. That's good.
Excelsior.
It's all coming together at the right time for the Vikings.
I'll go next. Underappreciated. One Steelers player or non-player as of 4 p.m. yesterday has been a discussion point on our show this week. But I did want to shout out a player in the black and gold who deserves a little airtime from the four of us, and that's left tackle Alejandro Villanueva. Villanueva's path to the NFL is as noble and as cool as any in the league, and you might not know his story. And if you do already, then you'll appreciate it even more once we talk about his play on the field this season. Villanueva went to Army up in West Point. He played football, and then he went undrafted in the NFL draft. He then went on to be a captain in the U.S. Army. He served 3 tours in Afghanistan as an Army Ranger, and he earned the Bronze Star for Valor. This is all after college football. Then, after 5 years and serving 3 tours in the military, he went and tried out for the Eagles in a regional workout. He got signed by the Eagles, he got waived by the Eagles, and eventually latches on with the Steelers prior to the 2015 season. Wow. That is an amazing NFL story if it ends right there. Guy goes and is an Army Ranger, serves 3 tours in Afghanistan. You can make a movie, you can write a book on that journey alone. From Fort Benning, where he was trained to protect, to Pittsburgh, where he does that for Big Ben. But here's where I want to go with it today. It's a different chapter. His play, he's awesome this year. Like, Villanueva's been more than just a feel-good story. He made the Pro Bowl last season, and that was great in itself. This year, though, the Steelers' offensive line is the best in the league, and Villanueva is in the conversation as a first-team All-Pro left tackle. When it's all said and done this season, he could end up being the very best left tackle in the entire world. The Steelers' offensive line has given up just 12 sacks the entire season. That's 3rd fewest in the league. And last week on national television, Big Ben had all day to pass against that vaunted Panthers defense. I love this dude's story. Obviously, Army Ranger, decorated veteran, goes on to be NFL player. That's your book. That's your movie. But this, to me, is the coolest chapter. He's dominating the NFL this season. He's going head-to-head with Terrell Suggs and shutting him down. He's up against Myles Garrett, shutting him down. Julius Peppers taking care of business. And he's more than just merely on the field as a veteran. He is actually one of the best in the sport. So Veterans Day was Monday. I spent the weekend at Fort Benning where he actually did his training as an Army Ranger. And we are in the midst of the NFL's Salute to Service initiative. So we're also in the midst of a Steelers 4-game winning streak. And which our left tackle might be as good as any in the sport. Alejandro Villanueva, shout out to you. Underappreciated. Not just your story, but your play on the field.
Awesome. At that position, it's crazy, like what he's doing, that he's transcended and really making an impact this year. Salute to Service. Guess what? How much they raised? 5.7 plus.
We can do better.
5.7.
We can do better. The window's open. Keep on tweeting.
Let's run up this tab, everybody. Hashtag Salute to Service.
Awesome.
I like hearing about him as a player. There's a real species of player who their backstory gets so distracting. Kurt Warner in the grocery store and Thielen and James Conner, what he went through. The play is great, and that's what they're into now. I love that.
He did 3 tours?
He did 3 tours of Afghanistan. He's a decorated Army Ranger, a bronze medal for valor.
Went
Unbelievable.
from protecting this country to protecting his quarterback.
There you go.
That's awesome, man.
Love that. If you guys have underappreciated storylines, we'd love to hear them. Hashtag GMFB. Who deserves a little love? Anybody on the 32 teams?